o'clock. We will call to order the regular meeting of the Clarkston Community Schools Board of Education. Will you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mrs. McLean, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Mrs. McGinnis, here. Mrs. Egan, Mrs. Crane,
Here.
Mrs. Love, here. Mr. Heyer,
Here.
Mrs. Sivers, here. Mr. Neat.
Here. Mrs. Egan had a work conflict tonight, and she would be unable to join us. Our first order of business is a very pleasant one. At our last board meeting, the board appointed Jacqueline Sivers to fill the vacancy on our Board of Education. And as board president, it is my great pleasure and honor to administer the oath of office to her. So, Jacqueline, if you could please come down here. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support
to fully support
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state.
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state,
That I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of member of the Board of Education of Clarkston Community Schools
of the office of a member of the Board of Education of Clarkston Community Schools
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Thank you. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community hearing. There is a time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in agenda items 3 and 9. Our audience is leaving us. The next order of business is approval of the consent agenda. May I have a motion, please?
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Mrs. McLean, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Heyer,
Yes.
Mrs. Love,
Yes.
Mrs. Crane,
Yes.
Mrs. Sivers,
Yes.
Mrs. McGinnis,
Yes.
Mrs. Egan, Mr. Neat.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Item 3, citizens' request to address the board. You are given 2 opportunities to address the board. Under this item, item 3.1, you can request to address the board on any topic on tonight's agenda, which is displayed on the screens. Or under item 9, you're welcome to address the board on any topic. When making comments, please state your name and address. Direct your comments to the board president. Each person may speak for up to 2 minutes. Per established procedures, the board will not respond to questions or interact with the speaker during public comment. There is a sign-in sheet in the back, and Mrs. Mahoney will check. Nothing? Okay. No one has requested to speak on agenda items, and again, anyone is welcome to address the board when we get to item 9. Item 4, Superintendent Update. Dr. Ryan.
Thank you, President. Good evening, Clarkston community. A couple great announcements as we get into our, hard to believe, already 3rd week of school. Our staff and students are off to an amazing start. They really have that focus and that energy at every site, every building, every classroom that I've had an opportunity to visit. There's a lot of energy, and I think our kids are ready to roll. They have been. They're showing it, and as far as our administration, we continue to stand strong with our positional control, looking at very few, as Mr. Cito, I'll give him a nod out in the crowd there, open positions right now in Clarkston Community Schools from top to bottom. We're doing very, very well in that aspect. It was really nice the other night on Friday to see the turnout for our community tailgate before our varsity football game. It was really kind of a nice little affair, and I want to tip my hat to Miss Mary Beth Rogers there, who was integral in that part of that planning and execution that evening, and it was a nice collaboration with the sports boosters and different elements of our community kind of coming together. Right down to the individual tattoos and face painting and everything else. It was a really nice night for all of our kids that could attend. The one thing I would say that we're continuing to work on, hopefully that we'll have very short up this week for our community here, is that we're aware that we still have some struggles in our transportation side. Although we do have routes covered by drivers, we're still making adjustments as we dissolve that nexus, that connection between our middle school students riding our high school buses, and so they had their own route. We're still experiencing some growing pains going into this week, but I feel like that within the next day or so that we'll have hopefully most of those ironed out. I've been working closely with Mr. Goodman and Mr. Lucido and the transportation team over the office to continue to do that. So for our families out there have had any kind of much increased waiting time and any disruption, my apologies. And for the rest of it, I think other than that, we're off to a really good start. So thank you, Mr. Need, and welcome, Ms. Elkins.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Ryan. We have no presentation items tonight. Item 6, action items. Item 6.1, approval of personnel changes. May I have a motion, please?
I move the Board of Education approves personnel changes as listed in the attached sheets.
Support.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Item 6.2 is acceptance of the resolutions regarding September as National Recovery Month and National Suicide Prevention Month. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education approves the resolutions declaring September as National Recovery Month and National Suicide Prevention Month as presented.
This is a resolution that we have adopted in years past. It is expressing support. A copy is available on the board packet if anyone from the public is interested. Is there any other discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Mrs. McLean, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Love? Yes. Mrs. Crane?
Yes.
Mr. Heyer?
Yes.
Mrs. Cybers?
Yes.
Mrs. Egan? Mrs. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Need?
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Item 6.3 is the approval of the Clarkston Area Youth Assistance Board of Directors. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education approves the resolution designating the 2023-24 CAYA, Clarkston Area Youth Assistance Board of Directors as presented.
Support.
Motion made and supported. Is there any discussion? Ms. Sivers?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank the KAYA board and the organization for the work that KAYA does for our community. In my professional capacity, I've had multiple opportunities to witness the impact that KAYA has on both juvenile respondents as well as their families. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you for your work and dedication to the organization. Thank you.
Well said, Mrs. Sivers. We've been a partner for KAYA for quite a few years, and they do excellent work within the Clarkston community. I'm sorry, we need to vote. Mrs. McLean, can you please call the roll on item 6.3?
Mrs. Cybers?
Yes.
Mrs. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mrs. Crane?
Yes.
Mrs. Egan? Mrs. Love? Yes. Mr. Heyer?
Yes.
Mr. Need?
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Item 7, report items. Item 7.1 is our monthly finance report, and we'll turn it over to Mrs. Rogers.
So this will be your report for the summer. This is all of the current monthly financial update as of, and it is the months of June, July, and August. I always bring this to you in September as we book everything throughout the summer. And so the June is your check registers from last school year, so you can look at that if you want. And then the budget to actual revenues is 2.12%, so you're not going to expect much at this point. We're only, 2 months into the school year. We haven't even started receiving, we don't start receiving our state and federal revenue until October and November. And so the only thing at this point you've received is local revenue, which is the tax collection, because we do 100% summer tax collection. And then the budget to actual expenditures is just under 6%. And the majority of that's going to be in the operational part that you're paying your operational folks. Everybody but the teachers are being paid, we start working June, we start getting paid July 1st for the school year. And you'll see instructional is just around 6%. So, and you're always going to see, like I say this every year, you're always going to see that differential of expenditures to revenue due to the fact that we don't get our state and federal revenue. The state cycle is, October 1st to September 30th, the federal and state cycle. But our cycle is July 1st to June 30th. So we're 3 months into the school year before we receive any state or federal revenue for the school year. So our August 31st, 23 fund equity at this point is just over 20 million, and our budgeted fund equity is 23 million. The next time I report, it will be an audited number. We will have an audited number for you, but at this point, I put out the budget number that you guys approved in June for our fund balance. So any questions? You've got all the check registers for the 3 months, any ACHs we've done, and
Any questions for Mrs. Rogers?
there was a lot of information in this packet this time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep, thanks.
Item 8, discussion items. We have none this evening. Item 9, citizens' comments. Citizens are welcome at this time to address the board on any topic. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the board? Thank you. Information items. Our next Board of Education meeting will be Monday, September 25th. It will be a workshop meeting. The topics being M-STEP and data analysis. It is currently set for 7 o'clock, but I am going to be polling the board members between now and the next couple of days to see if there is interest in perhaps moving that up. So, stay tuned for a call from me. That completes our business meeting. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Motion made and supported. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. We are adjourned at 7:13.